are very important, self-centralized, and I just feel that hampers their ability to write.
Well, they are contained markets, and Australia generally hangs on to the coattails of the American market, and we get a lot of our games.
And
rather unfairly.
I think what's happened is, as the games become more complex, we start to notice things like the cultural differences between writing and translations and stuff.
But is it still relevant though? Like, is the Japanese game making?
I think what's
style?
happened is sort of, as Japanese games have become more and more solely for the Japanese developers have started to develop in this sort of bubble where they're only looking at Japanese games.
Yep.
And it's sort of stagnated a lot of the games. So you still have games, like every JRPG still plays like Final Fantasy VII. Still plays like Final Fantasy 1.
But their audience, I think, wants that.
I think
you still have Japanese houses that are using Western styles to get their product out of that Japanese market.
But when you talk about what the audience wants, you're definitely talking about a product. Whereas we're talking like artistically, they're not growing as quickly as European and American developers, I think.
But that's still from the perspective of what you're looking for in a game and what a Western culture is looking for in a game. In terms of game design, I think they're still there. I think they're still developing new
So your
games.
argument is that we can't argue this, essentially?
Of course not. I mean, one, Australia's a bit of a backwater. Two, we just don't have the same market available to us as if we were in America or Japan, like in terms of what's actually crossing over. I mean,
I don't know. I'd argue that we know more about the international world than America and Japan.
Because we're forced to, because it's so remote.
Yeah, because we're forced to. We're small population means we have to look outside of Australia
I think we're more
more.
observant. I don't think we actually know much about the outside world. I think we just watch.
This is going on to another tangent.
Wait, are we arguing that Australia is better than Japan?
All right, George, being very quiet.
Sorry. I'm actually with their side, so I'm finding it really hard to think of objectives.
I'm putting myself out there.
Betrayal. This is the personal lobby.
Not really.
Well, I guess we're mostly like the games that come into Australia mostly westernized that I see in like, you know, EB games or games.
But then whose fault is that? Is it because we buy westernized games, or is it because publishers send us them that we have to buy them?
Well, that's true. I mean, there's the ones we see on TV, there's the ones we see advertised on like websites like Kotaku and such. But I've always seen like the Japanese games are mostly underground. Like, that makes them seem like really sus, but mostly for a market, caters for a specific market. But it seems to be growing more as we're picking up more of that culture.
There's like games like Persona and series that are very underground, but then Metal Gear, I mean, that's a system seller in the West, and that's
I think
very Japanese.
The big Japanese games that are coming out are all, the ones that people are buying are all really old established franchises. So you've got Resident Evil 5 just came out, Street Fighter 4. Final Fantasy 13. It's all ones that people already know and already invested in the series.
Well, what you've got to remember with the DS games especially, you've got these amazing like original games coming out, and it's because it's got the support of like the Nintendo and Sony. I mean, if you have
Sony for DS games?
The handheld guys?
Sony for PSP.
Yeah, okay.
And PlayStation. Those are where you find most of the
Isn't Sony run by Sony Entertainment USA now? It's the CEO. It's the American CEO.
Yeah, but they've still got
Actually, I thought he was a
support.
British guy. I was anyway,
Whatever.
That's kind of beside the point.
Well, we both worked
But,
in like game, and a lot of the games we've got are more Japanese, like
Yeah.
Eastern based. We had
But are they selling?
The only Western really games we had
I mean,
was
come on,
like
have a
Jack
look
and
at the
Dexter.
Wii Fit.
Yeah, but then was Wii Fit a game?
Yeah, it's not.
That's a different kettle of fish.
So Japan
a
are pretty much
thing.
dominating the market at the moment with like a lot of people that are older now. The older demographic. The what's the name of the girl from Greece?
Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, she loves it. She loves a DS.
She loves the DS. She's Australian. She's
Yeah.
Western.
Well, exactly. Like a
You
lot
can't just look at the games, the software. I mean, look at the hardware coming out of Japan as well.
It's not as good as the Xbox.
But it's catering to a different market, which means we are getting a big market in Australia for the Wii.
You don't see
We're
like
a
a whole
market
bunch of
that's okay
Xboxes
with
linked
fail.
up to become a supercomputer. They're using the PS.
Wasn't the Dreamcast designed by a British guy?
You're thinking of Peter Moore and he didn't design it.
No, it wasn't.
Why would you think of Peter Moore?
I never think of Peter Moore. I've blocked him out of my brain. So
Okay.
it wasn't him. But no. Anyway, you're talking about the DS, and the DS has some great Western games.
Scribblenauts.
Scribblenauts.
Which isn't even out yet, technically.
And it has some
could be
great
shit.
Japanese
Technically.
games.
But they're genre breaking, like they and
So
Puzzle
it's Elite
Quest.
Beat Agents and Phoenix Wright and Professor
Zelda,
Layton.
Mario.
Elite Beat
then-
Agents is not a genre breaking game. It's
How many people actually played a rhythm game before they played Elite Beat Agents?
Dance Dance
making-
Revolution.
Half the crew just put their hands up.
Yeah, but they watch manga as well. They're still open to Japanese culture.
Don't attack
Except
the
that
crew.
guy.
Yeah, but that's not a game.
But then handheld games, they can afford to be more innovative because they're much less of a risk. They're much less of a financial risk because they're so much cheaper to develop.
Yeah.
But I think largely what we're getting here is we're getting the ones that have been successful in Japan. So no, we're not seeing as much of
The crap.
we're getting the good games.
You brought up manga. It's like the same thing with anime. We see the best of anime, and still 99% of that is crap. So it's like, you can imagine how much we're not
But
seeing.
again, you're judging that by your own like cultural upbringing and social
Yes,
values.
but mine is right. So I win.
But then, I mean, aren't a lot of these cartoons we watch crap?
Yeah.
What value does Action Hunger Force have to
Hey!
us as a society?
Hey, yes.
I mean, come
Objection.
All right.
Well, I think
Wait, I just helped them. Damn it.
I think if you're looking at purely Japanese storytelling, then I don't know. There's ones that have been interesting from a storytelling perspective. Lost Odyssey was brilliant, but I don't think anyone bought it. There was Eternal Sonata, which was interesting, but kind of weird. It was, I don't know.
Which
it was
is
boring.
Japan. Interesting, but kind of weird. So, yeah, I just feel Japan is too Japan, which is
America
Japanese.
is to America. Australia is to Australia.
no,
I mean,
they're not.
But that's again, as you said, Will, that
Japan.
they're in their bubble of Japanesiness.
Well, Japan.
It's only recently that Japanese developers are making games for international audiences. They're very specifically making games for Japan usually, and you know, European developers make, you know, because they're Europe, they have to make games for a lot of people for a lot of different languages and cultures and stuff like that. And I just feel that that improves upon the game. Even though you'd think they'd just spend all their time translating, so it would make anything. But
I argue against that. I mean, I can see where you're going with the whole Japanese developers are using more, like, they're becoming Anglophiles almost.
Yeah.
But a lot of those games are shooting themselves in the foot because a lot of people buy Japanese-made games because they like that kind of genre. That's why they're so successful. Even the older ones. I mean, they stuck to what worked for them, and it worked in other markets.
Do you think it's a growing genre, a growing group of people though? The Japanese game buying
You can't
market in the
tell.
West.
I can't tell. Honestly, I couldn't say because simply I don't have access to the market in Japan. I mean, it's really hard to argue it from this side of things because, I mean, you
Yeah.
can't really have a set opinion if you don't have all sides open to you.
understandable. One of the best-selling Japanese-made games is Metal Gear, and it's based on an American sort of story arc. It took plot points from a bunch of American movies.
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York. Well, that's the
Nick
character.
Plissken.
But it's also like
Same character.
But it's also,
those games are very Japanese in the way they're made. Like they all talk in big, long.
and that's the
sort of
negative
abstract
part of it, in my
monologues
opinion.
and-
It's like, but even
But
the-
that's what Metal Gear fans love as well.
I don't think they do. I think they see
Are you a
past
Metal
that.
Gear fan?
I am. I see past the crap and just play the good. And it's like, and like even the
So-
gameplay.
so do you think-
Metal Gear plays exactly like Alone in the Dark?
Do you think that's maybe a Western and Japanese audience difference as well, in that Japanese audiences maybe are looking for more of a story experience and Western games are looking for more of a game?
I don't think that's true,
Well,
but I do.
Most of the Western games are like action-packed, whereas the Japanese ones are slower, and you can enjoy the story instead of going, "Oh God, guns!"
But
you know.
Japan is also, like you were saying before, they are like the initiators with just like quick mini game sort of deals like DS and Wii.
WarioWare,
related stuff.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So I don't know. We've talked ourselves into a corner.
Well, I think from a storytelling perspective, you've got the Western developers are trying to, like Valve and Half-Life, are trying to completely remove cutscenes and have it all interactive, so a character's always talking directly to you and you can walk off. But then you've got the Japanese ones, where in Metal Gear Solid you've got like a 45-minute cutscene, which happens more than once. So you're getting into a passive thing.
It's really
so-
person to person.
I mean,
and it comes out.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
comes down to the audience that they like aiming for. I mean, I don't think it's a purely Japanese thing. I'm sure if a Western developer had an audience that wanted to sit down and like play an interactive movie, that's what they would give them.
True.